Jen Psaki, of course, White House press secretary, long time. She was with CNN first. I think she was with CNN first before she went to the Biden administration. And then she just finished up her term as White House press secretary in dramatic fashion, by the way. You remember an African reporter in the back was like, "Can we talk about Africa?" And basically her last day, she like yelled down this reporter. So that was a good way to end that. Good way to end it.
All right.
But yeah, she's got a new job.
So now she's decided that she is going to join MSNBC. This was sort of whispered about, though, long before when she first announced that she was retiring from the White House. This was the speculation. So this is not necessarily novel, right? But it is kind of telling because, okay, MSNBC already has former White House communications director Nicole Wallace, right?
Right. Full of lies, Nicole Wallace. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
She worked under George W. Bush,
right?
Although she'd never conducted press briefings at the podium. Fox News has Dana Perino. She was the White House press secretary under George W. Bush. So these hires, they're fair game, right?
Fair game for what?
Well, that's the question.
Fair game for this. Like if you take my laptop here, and I'm still learning this whole new system here. So my laptop screen, here we go. So this is Glenn Greenwald's new documentary out on Nicole Wallace. Calls the Typhoid Mary of Disinformation. So you can watch that now on Rumble. The hardest part of producing this was deciding which of her countless lies to omit due to time constraints. So this is the problem with press secretaries, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they literally are mouthpieces of disinformation. Like that's what they're sent up there to be mouthpiece, to literally disseminate falsehoods. And so it's hilarious to think that a government then is going to lecture us about what is quality information and then what is disinformation.
Right.
When literally every day you're up there and can't answer simple questions about who we bombed, where we're funneling money to. You called Hunter Biden's laptop fake news, Russian information. Are you going to apologize about that from the podium, from the taxpayer podium where you're supposed to be telling the truth?
Yeah.
And you're full of shit.
But also, she's not a reporter, right?
Right.
MSNBC thinks that they scored a big brand by scoring her, right?
It's perfect for them.
But she has no on-camera experience, and she absolutely is not a reporter. So it is, if there ever was like a thin veil of neutrality, it's not there with a move like this, right? And not that there would be anyway, but you think of what could they do with a salary like that? Because surely she's getting paid handsomely and much more than she was at the White House, because those government jobs are fancy, but they don't come with the same kind of baseball money that a network news anchor would, right? And so they're deciding to hire this big brand rather than actual investigative journalists.
Right.
Because they think, and then of course her people are going to make her a brand too, which is fine, right? This is just kind of, it's almost like it's what everything that's wrong, these days is we want these like brand mouthpieces. It
just speaks to these like Washington media elites who watch MSNBC. Like who watches MSNBC? It's people that live in Washington who want to see their viewpoint on television. So they want to see their own conviction bias on television. So it's the same people that thought that she was a great press secretary, wanted to see her spar a little bit with some of those reporters who would push back at her. There was plenty of clips of her going up against Peter Doocy.
Yeah. They loved that.
Yeah.
Sure. But, when CBS earlier this year hired Mick Mulvaney from the Trump administration, they were kind of candid about it. And they're like, we need a Republican because Republicans are going to sweep in the midterms, which the writing on the wall seems to be the case, right? And we don't really have anyone from this side to explain it to.
So you get Mick Mulvaney.
So, yeah, I was like, Fox News doesn't have a problem hiring, but okay, that's the guy you want, fine. But MSNBC doesn't need this from Jen Psaki. They don't need Democratic strategy. They've got plenty.
No, the whole station is Democratic, moderate beltway strategy. It's how do we keep Bernie Sanders off of our television sets internally? Remember, we had the MSNBC whistleblower, the producer, who said, We were told as a producer at MSNBC, we are not allowed to have Bernie Sanders, Andrew Yang on the air.
Yeah.
They lied about the graphics they would put up for who was running for president, who was the Democratic candidate. They had Joe Biden there. They had Kamala Harris. No Andrew Yang missing, even though he was polling higher than Kamala Harris. We're not allowed, we were told, as producers at MSNBC. Not me. I'm just speaking from the producer that was the whistleblower. We covered this about 2 years ago here on the show. And she said, yeah, we were told, like, no booking Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders. Like, because they know they would help them.
Yeah.
And you can't hurt the establishment. These establishment Democrats, these corporatists who run the show. I mean, that's it. They're just part of this. They're part of this disinformation. So I think this Glenn Greenwald, I can't wait to watch it, by the way, this Glenn Greenwald documentary on Nicole Wallace as the Typhoid Mary of disinformation. But can we say about Jen Psaki, though, for a second? She's going to get a streaming show on MSNBC. Like, they're starting this like streaming service as part of. But
she probably also will.
She'll pop in as a contributor.
Be in the other seats as well.
But didn't we learn our lesson from CNN about starting a streaming service?
And MSNBC already had a streaming service. I was one of their anchors.
Yeah.
Didn't you watch my show? You do remember?
That's how well it went.
That's rude. I will say that I also was an MSNBC contributor. And I can't wait to see what the hair and makeup people at the network, because MSNBC has the best hair and makeup people. So I already noticed that because if you look, Jen Psaki was on Jimmy Fallon last night. Go ahead and play this little clip. And you notice they I was going to say, oh, her hair's going to get bouncier and her lipstick is going to get a lot glossier. And that's exactly what they did.
Being at the podium, explaining difficult things to the public, that was fun to me. Yeah. It was great. I learned something new every day. I got to call people up who were the experts on things, Jake Sullivan and Brian Deese and all these people who knew so much. And I learned something new every day. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Jake
that's
Sullivan,
the
by
new
the way.
Jen Psaki. That's how we will see her now.
I love that she cites Jake Sullivan.
As someone who taught her something every
as someone
day.
that she learned something from. As we pointed out here just a few days ago, he was instrumental, of course, in the Russiagate hoax and actually disseminating fake propaganda about Trump and a server between the Alpha Bank. So Jake Sullivan, that's who she's learning from. But again, a streaming service, I don't know. I just want to kind of go back to that, like this MSNBC streaming service. Like, how are they going to, like, they have it now, or is it going to be rolled out kind of like CNN Plus, and then or is it going to be part of like Peacock, and we won't really even know?
Maybe they had it all along, and they just, I don't know, because remember I had a show on MSNBC streaming service called Code Forward, and then they said, well, we're not going to really do the streaming service much anymore. So that's why my show was shut down. But maybe they just want to get rid of me. And it's been there all along.
It's possible. It's like this dormant streaming service that we don't even know about.
They're like, don't tell her. Just tell her the network's dead.
They were just holding on until a huge star like Jen Psaki came along. They're like, now we're going to dust off this beast, this dinosaur.
What were you going to say, Philip?
Oh, I was just like giving you a hard time. I was just going to say, like, we've all known that it's been there. Everybody told us not to tell you.
Okay.
Right.
Darn.
Yeah. It's still there.
It's a global conspiracy.
Yeah.
It's like, what's his name in The Office, where he's like still going to work, even though like
Milton, and he's in the basement.
He's in the basement. He's like, he's not even getting paid anymore. Like, oh, Milton.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they keep moving you down to some other dusty room or something. But
well, I thought I parted ways nicely with MSNBC. And also I was pregnant with my third at the time. And I started to get sick in the makeup chair and was like, okay, I'm good. Not doing this job anymore.
Yeah. So Jen Psaki, we'll be keeping our eyes on you, Jen Psaki.
Jen Psaki, the brand.
The brand.
Yeah, we wish her luck.
All right. I don't wish anybody ill will. So, I mean, good for her, but we know exactly what we're going to get here. I mean, you spent 2 years like spewing lies from the podium. Are you going to continue that now?
Yes.
With a new streaming service. Do we expect something different? I mean, you're just going to get more of the same. Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. We've been banned, we've been blocked, we've been censored. That's why we started our own website, to stay connected with you for free.
That's right. So head on over to redacted.inc and make sure you're connected with us. You can sign up again at redacted.inc, not .com.